can't put that up.
What?
Nah, I can't. That blooper's a bit too real. No.
That's real right there.
He's just fishing. Now he's just fishing, man.
Maybe PBR will sponsor us.
There's no maybe. He fucking will. Now, like free beer. What does a free beer cost them? Nothing, right? Nothing. Oh, something, but
Yeah, I'm sure it's something.
yeah, not a lot. Not as much as goes out of the budget from here. So, welcome back. This is the Unsocial Show, episode number 3, and we got Scott right here. Scott Brodie, descendant of Vikings.
Breaking every commandment of heaven and earth as they put an age to the torch.
Well, mostly like Scotland and everything, but they say most of the Scottish came from Vikings from Sweden and whatnot. So yeah, whatever.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and whatever, it's a duck. Or a Viking in this case.
It invades like a duck. You still better run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. So tell me, how did you start out here? When did you get involved with hardcore? Start building. Let's go further back. Sorry. When did you start building cars, man?
I was probably about 14 or so when I started working on cars. Kind of believe it or not, I was actually helping a buddy of mine build Honda race cars.
Ooh.
Yeah, very, very like in the yard type of deal. No driveway, in the grass. Pulling motors out of one car and swap them into another. We had to put a sheet of plywood down to put the cherry picker on and pull the motors out, and we had to push the cars up into it. And when we built motors, we actually pulled this bedroom window out, and we had different sheets of plywood so that we'd kind of hopscotch them to get the engine into his bedroom through the bedroom window. And then he had no garage or anything, so he had a minivan that didn't run, but he kept all his tools in it, and we'd push that around the yard to get our tools around.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So he was, like I said, he was really into Hondas and stuff, but you know, I was always into the classic cars and the American muscle. And not to make anyone feel old, but I watched, you know, Monster Garage and Orange County Choppers and all those shows, and that's kind of what got me into it. I've always been handy, but for my 16th birthday, I asked for a welder.
Arc welding is an electrical process which unites metallic parts.
Not every 16-year-old kid's kind of gift that they want. That's
yeah. So asked for a welder. My friends all thought I was absolutely nuts. And it's weird because like now I kind of separate my life into when I didn't know how to weld and when I learned how to weld, because it just opens the doors to so many possibilities of things that you can do. I mean, my mom was like, "What are you gonna do with that?" And then she was gonna have a big house party one day, and 5 minutes before the party started, the drawer in the kitchen broke. The track for it broke. And she's like, "Oh, you know, the party's ruined. The kitchen isn't going to look right with this drawer missing, right?" I'm like, "Mom, I got this," you know. And I go out there and weld it really quick and slapped it back in there. So
what a good son.
That's
a superhero move right there. Cool,
yeah.
man.
So, but yeah, and then a buddy of mine was kind of working for Trent here at Hardkore, and he kept telling me, he's like, "Hey man, you got to come out here and check it out. You know, this guy has a classic car shop building hot rods and this, that, the other." And I was like, "Yeah, right. You know, none of those shops exist in Miami. You know, whatever." So he kept bugging me about it, and I finally came out here, and yeah, I mean, here's this guy building hot rods and, you know, classic cars and all that. So
you step into its own world.
Yeah,
I have the same experience when I heard about it.
Right.
We were invited to a party, I remember.
Right.
When it was a little bigger.
Right.
When you guys have that expansion, and it was over there, and it was a like big party and everything. And we rode out there, a couple of buddies of mine, We had a huge party. I remember we were driving around in a golf cart on like on a dirt track right next to it.
Yeah.
Flying
So
off
they're
of it.
building the houses next door, and they just had they didn't even have the foundations or the pads or anything.
Blast, man.
Yeah. So that was. I still have that golf cart.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's all nice and painted, and the upholstery's all done and everything.
No way.
Yeah.
You use it? You drive around the neighborhood?
Yeah. Because where I live, you can drive it on the street and all that. So
that is a sure sign of a very luxurious upscale neighborhood.
I guess
when people are riding around in the golf carts, man. So.
yeah.
Good for you for raising the value in the area.
But yeah, my dad had recently just gotten that, and it's just a stock height golf cart, which it's really too low to get around a neighborhood. You can't go off a sidewalk or whatever, go over a tree stump. Yeah. So brought it over to the shop, and I think it was right around Thanksgiving. And I fabricated a lift kit for it out of stuff that we had lying around the shop, and we put bigger wheels on it and all that.
We got to take pictures of it. I mean, you got pictures of it, right?
Yeah, I have pictures because Trent slammed his truck around that same time, and he was. I felt bad because I had the golf cart inside. I was fabricating the lift kit for it and raising it. And he's like, man, well, if you're doing that, he's like, I'm going to sand my truck. So it starts pouring rain. He can only get his truck about halfway in the door of the shop. So he's sitting there working on his truck with a sheet of plywood off the hood of the truck on top of his head so he doesn't get soaked while he's doing it. And we ended up wrapping them up like the same day. And so one went up and one went down. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I got a question. I've heard the story, right? Mm-hmm. And
there's lots of stories.
Yeah, but there's one particular story that is somewhat. I didn't believe it at first. I'm like, you're crazy.
Right.
Then there's actually some backings to the story that it might be quite likely, and that is that you have a relative, an ancestor.
Right.
Yeah. In London.
Well, okay. So my family, like I said, we're originally as far back as we could trace it, which was about 454-ish AD.
It's pretty good.
Is from Scotland, and they were a clan, and there's a couple castles there. One of the castles is still standing. I think it's an art school now.
Okay.
So it got donated years ago out of the family.
That would be easy to take back.
We just go over there and raid, and
art school. What are they gonna do?
Yeah. We're gonna build some catapults and tow them behind our hot rods and lay siege and take the castle. Yeah.
Yes.
Take the castle back.
That's gonna be a good. Yeah. We'll film it. We'll make a whole episode about taking back the castle. Yeah.
Right. We might have to break that up in a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Sieges are kind of long. Sometimes.
Yeah, because you got a tent before, and you gotta have those parties before, and you gotta use. So yes, definitely, that would be a good show.
Yeah.
Scott's
we could almost make a mini movie out of it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm fucking down. I am down. So go ahead. This person, this individual, this book that is
okay. So
inspired.
Anyway, as time went on and everything, different families have different personalities and characters, and you talk about great grandpa this, great grandpa that, but supposedly, as the story goes, I'm a descendant from a guy by the name of Deacon William Brodie.
Mm-hmm. What did he do?
He was a respected carpenter by day. He was a deacon of the Carpentry Guild in Edinburgh, Scotland, and but supposedly he liked to drink, he liked to party, especially at night. He was a little bit of a womanizer, so he'd go out, and the people that he did cabinetry for or whatever, supposedly he carried a little clay clamshell thing with wax inside, and he'd take their house key and press it in there, and then he'd make a copy of their key.
Okay.
Yeah, and he'd go back and he'd rob the place and sport his drinking and all his vices and poisons and whatnot. So supposedly,
Remember that when you're getting your keys done. You know?
Yeah. Watch out for guys that carry around,
Clam
copies. Yeah. But now I
Clam
heard
shells with wax in them.
I heard now that you can take a picture of your key and
Yeah, we're way beyond.
yeah, you
Wax
take
and-
yeah. So that's a new thing. But supposedly he built furniture for Robert Stevenson, who wrote the book Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He probably robbed him too. So, because the writer grew up hearing the stories of my great ancestor, and decided to write a book on the duality of man called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So
A very relatable book for
right. Well, because
most of us.
yeah. Because
in smaller or bigger scales.
exactly. I mean,
But that is
because
cool story, man.
a lot of us, I think the duality, it still exists in a lot of people where, and maybe not to such evil sides
Extremes,
but like you're
he had to emphasize like you're doing in movies or wherever, he had to make it an extreme version,
right,
to give the reflection of kind
Right.
of cast a net over.
exactly. But a lot of us go home and we're one way with our families, very loving, very caring, this, that, the other,
Or vice versa.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. But then you go out to work, or you're the jerk asshole at the bar that sits in the corner, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
oh, stay away from that guy. But then that guy goes home to his family.
But you know what? I fucking like that guy better.
Right.
I like the guy who's an asshole,
Right.
but I know he's an asshole.
Right.
And he goes home and he's nice. But I don't like the guy who's a nice guy
Right.
to people's faces.
Right.
And then they go home and beat the wife and kids.
Right, yeah,
behave
no,
like it.
no.
That for me is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Right. Go pick on somebody your own size.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. So.
That's pretty mind blowing, that story, man.
Yeah, and the story goes on. Supposedly he built the gallows in Edinburgh, which he was eventually hung on. And I mean, Discovery, History Channel, they've all done specials on this, but there's a little bit of a conspiracy theory saying that he might have developed a harness that had, because everybody had the shirts with the big floofy collars and all that back then. And supposedly he paid off the executioner and all that, and he made this harness that had hooks in it that were hidden in the collar of the shirt. So when he was hung, it didn't actually strangle him. And supposedly he lived his life out in Paris or something. Because he had bastard children, but he never really married and settled down.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Total bastard.
Yeah.
So how come you have you been back to Scotland? Have you?
No, I've been to Europe. I did not make it over to Scotland, unfortunately. That's way up there on my bucket list of things to do, to make it over there, see the castle. I've met family here that I didn't even realize I had, going to like the Scotland Highland Games and stuff up in Orlando, and they've gone back to the castle. And my dad's uncles went. They were older and everything, so they were around when I was young.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, they kind of had passed on by the time I really started getting into the family history and being able to appreciate it. So I really didn't get to find out as much as I would have liked to have from them.
I think that's quite common a lot. I did the same thing where, you got pictures. I got pictures of me and my great grandfather and great grandmother, and he was a boxer. He's now afterwards, I realized how much shaped who I am.
Right.
And the mentality, and he was a glass maker as well. So I have this duality to him about very much like that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Right.
So that duality of the artist and the fighter, and it's.
Well, and I mean,
I think we all have it, but when we have it in the family more.
Right. And I mean, I kind of
manifested in.
I kind of see it in myself in a way too, because I love to go to a concert or something and get in the mosh pit and throw down in the mosh pit, and you kind of start getting a little itch for it, and you feel
Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, and you feel a little off if you don't get out there and get to connect with a little more of your primal side.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you come.
It's just a mishmash of like
Yeah.
fucking Mr. Hyde and Vikings and Celts in there, man.
Yeah.
and you growing up here, it's a crazy town.
Yeah, yeah. So what I do know is that going back probably about 6 or 7 generations, my great whatever grandfather, and Alexander Marshall Brodie, he ran away to be a cabin boy on a ship.
Yeah.
And he eventually made it from Scotland over to the States. And then my family's been in Miami for a very long time. So
Cool, man.
yeah.
You know what? And we're gonna be talking some more.
Right.
Because
hopefully,
we got a bunch of ideas and things we discuss on a regular. So I just wanted to let them hear about that story because I love it about Jekyll Mr. Hyde.
It is a cool story. It's not something that everybody gets to hear, and it's cool.
Now they do.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yep. Now you heard.
He's got the blood right here from Dr. Jekyll and definitely Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Crazy bastard. Hi, man.
Right.
Hey, thank you. I'll see you.
No,
see you
thanks for
next
having
time.
me. Yeah,
we're
next
gonna ride
time.
something next time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Sweet.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Maybe you had a bumper knocked off. You certainly didn't buy a new one, but instead you had the bracket arc welded.
Come on!